walking quietly. This is referring to the infamous sign in Super Mario 64, please walk quietly in the hallways. And yeah, a lot of people thought back in the day, even now, like how weird this is, and thinking that there's some sort of secret behind it. I personally always thought that you would get a secret star from walking politely and quietly in the hallways, but apparently a lot of people thought that like a monster would come out and eat you if you ran too fast or loud. And yeah, I've talked about this again before in like the Less Talked About Entries video, and like part of what makes it so weird is the fact is that it's such a normal sign that you would see in like real life. Like it's not like a tutorial or something else weird that's usually in the game. No, it's just completely normal, which is what adds to the weirdness to it. Xenia and Frigate. So in Goldeneye 007, you can see in the briefing that mentions Xenia appearing on the level, and apparently she was meant to appear in the helicopter. However, we didn't have like much info or thought at the time, so a huge rumor is that she was supposed to be found somewhere as like a secret or random encounter in the level. Starry Night Skies. You may not know what this is at first, however, this is a popular one. You know that one painting in Super Mario 64 on the second floor that's the same texture as the wall on the third floor, but maybe you don't realize that just yet, and you don't for the longest time. It's really unique, and it stands out, and it looks super special, and you want to jump into it, and you're like, God damn it, why can't I go into it? Yeah, this is that level. This is the level that's mainly dubbed now for that painting, and this rumor just overall goes over what I just explained about there being a level inside that portrait. Mid-sized island. More Mario stuff is that we all know a tiny huge island, and all what this rumor suggests is that, hey, there's a painting in the middle that you can't jump into apparently, but maybe there's a middle-sized island, and this has been brought up more like lately ever since the personalized copy stuff, and again, people claiming that they have jumped into the middle painting before. Bowser Room. Originally a joke, and it appeared on the Super Mario 64 Iceberg, and people still know it's a joke and they're like tongue-in-cheek about it. However, it's also turned into something more genuine at the same time, mainly because the idea is cool when you take it more seriously, which is that there's a room of Bowser's in Super Mario 64 that you can get access to that belongs to Bowser, and he'll find you in the room and peer at you, and it's kind of scary to think about, and it's hidden way off somewhere in the game and has its own eerie music even. The origins of this originally was Chris O'Neill making a stupid image as a kid that he ended up saving forever. Then, of course, it blew up since last year into even more things. Sora's Fountain Secret Path. So this is just a really curious observation, but in Sora's Fountain, there's a path that you have to fall down through after lifting up a boulder, and then, yeah, you follow a certain path that's like at the edge of the map and totally blocked off aside from that. There's a couple of Skulltulas, but they're invisible for some reason. You have to use the Eye of Truth to see them. And then the only thing that's worth getting there is just simply one golden Skulltula token, and it's such a big and strange area where it's like, is this really all what there was there? And like, I can't help but feel like that there's more to it. It's just such an odd, like, wasted use of an area, and I remember seeing a walkthrough way back then that was like talking about this mystery, and I haven't seen much else talk about it since. Ocarina of Time missing NPCs. Self-explanatory, this just goes over how, like, once you transition from young Link to adult Link, there's certain NPCs that you saw back in the child timeline that you never see, like, anywhere during the adult timeline. Of course, the Graveyard Kid and then obviously Jabu Jabu are the big ones. But yeah, I mean, there's a few other stragglers out there who you never see, and it leads to many theories, and it's a big mystery and has many dark implications to it. Traditional Japanese board. This refers to a secret rumored board in Mario Party 2. Ways to unlock this vary around, like, it's mainly just like playing the game enough times that you could get it and completing and finding everything. And yeah, there's not too much to it, it's just that this would have been a bonus board and the characters would have been donned in traditional Japanese garbs. Windmill Level. This is something that people were trying when they were first playing through Conker's Bad Fur Day, which is just simply put that there's a way to get inside the windmill, and there's a level inside there, and I'm sure a lot of you, when you first played it, especially at a younger age, probably got drove crazy trying to get into the doors and stuff there. And this is somewhat alluded to in the final game, where towards the end it's blown up and Conker's like, oh, I thought for sure the windmill was going to be the last level. Dixie and Kitty Kong. This goes over how they're strangely missing in Donkey Kong 64. Dixie was especially one that stands out, and a character where many people wondered where she is due to her multiple appearances and popularity, and how Tiny just seems like so much more of like a specific and odd replacement for her, like compared to Chunky and Kitty, where Chunky is like at least a lot bigger than Kitty Kong, and they're both mentioned in the game, at least through the manual. So yeah, people thought maybe they're missing somewhere in the game itself. Oddjob and May Day in one-player mode. Another self-explanatory one, which is that you could find Oddjob and May Day somewhere while playing through the story of Goldeneye 007, and if you find them, then you're a really great player. Where this comes from, it's similar to Singya and Frigate, but more like the next entry I'm talking about too, is that they're mentioned within like the game's manual and box art and stuff of appearing in there, which is why people are like, well, where are they? Spider. Spider is a weapon that's mentioned in Goldeneye's manual, so this is where that rumor comes from, of people wondering, well, where is it in the game itself? Apparently it's an early name for Quab, but there's no way of knowing that, so people were thinking that it was a secret, separate item. Volcano Blocks. Yet another entry that I talked about in the less talked about entries. That's a mouthful. Mario 64 Iceberg video. I swear this is like the last time I'm doing that. But yeah, like, I mean, a lot of people just dismiss it as a detail, but as I said in there, it's such a specific and curious detail, and the blocks are tilted over on one end, and it's like, well, what caused that? Like, there's this whole entire, like, lore and backstory behind it, and maybe it was a monster that's gonna get you that did it. Warehouse ? Block. This is one that I read about and tried on my own, like, over 10 years ago almost, and I haven't really heard people talk about it since. But in the warehouse multiplayer level of Perfect Dark, if you go into the fencing area and then towards the middle, look up, there's a circular opening. I actually physically looked up when I said that. But if you use like the fission from the foresight gun for like the zoom in function, you can see a ? Block from Mario inside there, and that like makes you assume that there's some sort of like mystery there that you have to uncover, but as far as everybody knows, there's nothing to it. But do look into this. Abandoned space station door. This is another similar theme that we've seen in previous videos about like doors and passageways and openings and such that look like you should be able to access to, but you can't do anything with it. But this one's further down just because it's from a slightly less played game, which is Jet Force Gemini. And in the first level, you get the rest. There's a door there, which people wanted to access to, but it never opens up. Maybe it was used for a beta asset. I think it was meant to, but I'm not 100% on that. Blue Mario. The most unsolved mystery that you can see in any N64 game right in plain sight, which is Blue Mario and Mario Tennis, and well, he only appears if Mario's on court, and it's just like, who the fuck is this? Like, who's this Blue Mario look-alike imposter ? Clone ? What is he? Well, that does it for the 5th layer. I hope you all enjoyed. Next up it's the last, like, somewhat long layer, but it's really, like, legit mysterious and weird mysteries, like, still like somewhat known, but you'll see when we get there. See you then.